Here we are.
Hello, everybody. Mark here with
Wayne
Wayne.
here.
Wayne there,
And
Mark here.
me.
And today we've also got a live audience. So give us a round of applause, everybody. They, they got it. Thank you. They can't hear that anyway.
Good.
Yeah, we can hear
I
it.
just remembered sound cancelling the headphones, so they can't hear it. Thank you, everybody, for coming along to my and Wayne's first ever joint live.
Well,
And
together, we have done a live together, but we've been in separate places.
we were the other ends of each other's countries. But also, we've got a live audience. Which at some point I will turn the camera around and show you all these lovely looking people who've come along to have a look at us to turn something for my birthday, because it's my birthday today, and I am 55. I know I don't look it, do I?
No,
I'm
don't look a day under
75.
60.
No. So this is what we're turning today. This is a faux holoform. And for those of you who don't know what faux means, it means fake. Because it's a holoform, but we'll show you how we do it. And it's textured using an Arbitec mini hollower and
Mini
then
carver.
mini carver. Sorry, I've got hollowers on the brain because I'm all excited because I get to use an Easy Wood tool today. And we've textured it, colored it, and made it look like this. So the two of us are going to do bits and pieces. We're going to swap backwards and forwards. For those of you on YouTube, if somebody in the audience asks us a question, you can't hear it, we'll repeat their question and answer it so you know what's
Let you have a
going
look
on.
and pass that around.
And just so you can all see who we've got in the background before we start, we've got Wayne up in the corner in a disc because he's putting his back there. And we've got Pete from Twisted Trees in Bristol, and we've
Hi,
got
everyone.
Heather from Kentucky over in the
Good
US.
morning, boys and girls.
They're here to look after you. And we flipped a coin and decided that Pete was going to read the chat out. So I'll put them in the background,
Sucker.
put the mouse away, and I will change cameras and we will get started. We are turning a piece of oak. It's approximately 7 inches long, 4.5 inches square.
It'll probably end up around about 5 inches long. That's where it'll probably end up at.
And I've already marked the centers. This is nothing new. This is just roughing down.
Assistant.
My beautiful assistant will be at home, so I'm having to ask Wayne to do it for me instead. The lay's down to 0. Start to lay
Before
up.
you go, Mark,
Yeah.
if you've got a bit of board, you can check over the lathe bed. It's reflecting quite a lot onto your picture.
What was it?
Is it?
It's because I cleaned it with camellia oil this morning.
That'll be it. That's
Was it?
grand, yeah. That's just
Was
it.
it?
I can see the edge of the wood now.
Okay. So the lay's on, down to 0. Bring the speed up slowly. For reasons of safety that I will mention, normally you would do this with a face shield, but obviously because we're doing a demonstration, we're talking to the people here as well as on YouTube. Normally you'd wear a face shield. These are safety glasses, these are shatterproof lenses. And all I'm going to do is roughing down with a spindle roughing gouge from the center out to the edge.
And whilst Mark's busy doing that, I'd like to say hello to, first of all on my list is Jennifer's Craft and Creations. And then we have Wayne and Doug and me. Oh, and Mark. And then Les, who says happy birthday, Mark. Rob
Oh,
from
is it my
Copper
birthday?
Owl.
I forgot.
Haley from Wooden Burrow. Raymond Wine. Lewis from Conduct Craftsman. Andy, Door 60. There's and Phil from Spirit and Bear. Ruby Claire, who's got a demo tonight on the Record Power. There's no actual link for that. You've got to sign up to Record Power. So if you go to the Record Power site, if you're not signed up already, you can sign up there.
So that's round.
Bailey Woodworks. Dewey Shed.
And we just want to put a tenon on the end so that we can grip it in the chuck. These calipers are already measured for the chuck. Sorry, Pete, go on.
We have Lucy's Sweet Potato. Chris Doggs. Chris Cox. I think that's it. If I've missed anybody, I apologise. But good afternoon and welcome, everyone.
Did you say Malcolm? Malcolm is here. Mike Evans.
It's a 10mm beating and parting tool.
Yeah, I might have missed a couple of. My cat doesn't go all the way through.
Yeah, it's so easy to miss. Chris
But if I've
Bailey
missed
is
you,
in as well.
sorry about that. Put another comment in. We'll say hello again. Woodworks by Collins just joined us. Good afternoon.
It is good to see so many in the chat today. It's kind of a special day.
Why is that? What's so special about today?
Well, you're catching up with me on age.
Oh, that's good.
You survived another trip around the sun.
Yeah.
Lucy says, "Did you have birthday cake for breakfast?"
And we had bacon sandwiches for breakfast, which was very
I
nice.
must admit, Lucy, I did check my post this morning, expecting a slice of birthday cake from Mark, but it wasn't there.
There you go. Shop Dog Workshop has just come in, as has Miss T. Hello, Miss T.
Hello.
Just give the chuck a little spin right at the end, just to seat it properly.
That's my Jules.
There may have been a few crushed grapes consumed last night, so we had bacon sandwiches for lunch. Just a few.
Andy, the Valley Woodturner, has joined us. Hello, Andy.
Thank you everybody for coming in. Welcome along. For those joining late, just a reminder that you're not the only ones here. We actually have an audience today as well. We have
A live audience in the workshop.
a live audience here in the workshop. Right.
Make room for which Wayne had to move all of Mark's lathes, and when he's finished this live, he's going to have to put them back as well.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. Guess what? He didn't move the bloody lathes. I did. Right. So Wayne's going to take
what I
over now.
heard.
Every
Wayne's
time I
gonna do
visit
his
Mark,
bit.
his lathes are in the wrong place. I don't know how that happens, but
Good afternoon, everybody. Right, so I'm using a bowl gouge. Although we're doing spindle, I am using a 1/2-inch bowl gouge. And as you can see by the piece that I passed around, it's a fairly simple, basic shape that we'll do for this. Try and keep it simple. You can do different shapes for this type of thing if you like, but try and keep it fairly simple. So it's just going to be a nice, simple shape. Now, what I will do first, what I tend to do when I'm doing this type of thing, or vases, anything like this, I tend to start off by putting where I'm going to part off. And the reason I do this is once I get it finished and once I get it painted, if I haven't put a parting line on, and you start putting a parting line on, you start get fuzzies around about where the paint is and everything. So I'm just going to go in and just start.
there's a big hello to Liz, who's Lucy's mum and is watching with Lucy. And also, Kim has joined us, and Kim's comment, can't quite see it clearly. I think it says, "Mark, I'm coming to sweep up afterwards." Something like that, anyway.
That's just starting the parting line.
Douglas Mangum has just joined us. As has Nick Dees and Leroy 500.
this is a bevel rubbing cup. So full bevel contact on the wood as he's moving along. Gives a nice burnished cut. Supports the grain. Slices the fibres. As the wood comes over, slices, doesn't scrape.
Shug has joined us, as has Jacked Up Leatherworks. Hello, Jacob.
See, Mick wants to know if there's cake involved today. No, not for you, Mick.
I think Kim said there's not a chance she's sweeping up.
I don't know. I think Jennifer started a poll. It's down to the chat to vote on whether Kim puts up or not.
Kim can't sweep up today. She's got her grandson with her today.
Well, you can do it then.
We might sweep up. We might get the audience to sweep up.
Fat chance. I wish somebody come sweep mine up. I haven't swept up in several days now. It's starting to look like Wayne's shop. No, Mick. No wing bowls today.
Camera shake, Mark. Mark, your camera shaking.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? We'll go
Is that
with,
from the light, maybe?
No, it's because it's mounted on the headstock of the lathe.
Ah, gotcha. Gotcha.
We won't use the DSLR then.
So I'll just finish off the shape of this now.
He was asking if you're going to colour it black and yellow.
Black and honey, if that counts.
Sort of.
Sort of, yeah.
Now I'm going to use the tool that I got from, which one are we on? That one? I got this from Rob, who is the Klingspor rep, and he does a bit of 3D printing. And it's basically a depth gauge, but it's a little bit different because it's got the pointer on. And what you do is you take it flat across the top and you use the pointer for how deep you want to go. Now, when I part off, what I tend to do is put an undercut on the bottom of the vase. So I always, when I'm hollowing out, go up above where I'm going to part off. Okay, so tighten that down.
Plus, with the hollow forms and vases, I think we both agree it's always a good idea to keep a bit of thickness in the base to add weight, so they're not tippy. All right.
Right. So I don't know if you can. I'll turn that round this way so you can actually, so the audience can see.
Headstock. There you go. So you can see what you're doing now. You're on this one now.
Yeah, but I'm wanting to, just for the audience, you can see how far down that the pointer's gone there. Now, the good thing about this is you don't have to put any pencil marks on the piece or anything like that. You've got the depth set now on the depth gauge just by using the outside of the piece. And then what you do is you take the pointer off. And that's the depth that you're going to go to.
Down a bit, Wayne.
Okay?
Inside.
So you've actually got the depth of where you're going to go. That's already set now because you've had that pointer there. And the other good thing is now what you can actually do is measure the drill against the piece. And if Mark puts a mark on there with the Sharpie, that's how far you're going to drill. So it serves two purposes. Having the pointer on actually serves two purposes. So what I'm going to do now, this is where the pretend hollow form bit comes in. I'm going to get the beading tool again.
George, you want this one?
I'll use that one for actually parting it off.
Huey and Douglas have both said real deep.
Real
Mhm.
deep.
Real
Right,
deep.
so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use about half the blade on this, just to do the lid.
Overhead, Mark.
Now I'll take that down to there.
Close
James
up.
Crawford
There
has
you go.
joined us.
That's it. I'll take that down to there, and I've tried to get the sides sort of horizontal, if you like, so they're nice and straight. They're not beveled. There's no what's the word I'm looking for?
Parallel.
Dovetail. There's no dovetail there. They are parallel. And then I'm going to part that off. Now this is a straight-sided parting tool, so you've always got to do an extra cut so it doesn't jam.
Good dude has joined us.
Douglas asking if I'm okay. Yeah, I'm fine. I just Terry's back, so I'm not doing lives at the moment.
Joined us back.
Yeah.
Huey said to a question. He said, "What's a good force bit and extension bar to get drilling hollow forms?"
Just about. Sorry, Pete, I missed that question.
Dewey Shed
See,
wants to know what's a
we've
good
wasted
force
on
bit
them.
and extension bar for drilling hollow forms.
What, you mean like these? Which camera are we on?
Overhead.
The red. These.
Yeah.
Problem is, lots of Forstner bits
What?
have two different size shanks. So you sometimes you would need to get two different sized extensions. All right. So your Forstner bit goes in there. You do the grub screws up, and then this bit goes into the Jacob's chuck.
I'm a big fan of the Bosch Wave Forstner bits at the moment. They
Yes,
are
thanks for doing
similar
that.
to the Fish, but cheaper.
That was a deliberate mistake. Right, I've just had that one of the guys in the audience said, "Isn't your depth off now because you've just taken the a bit off the top?" And he is exactly right. And I'm pleased
Yep.
he said that.
Because now we're going to measure it.
Because then I would have had the funnel. Exactly.
Douglas was asking Mark, where are those available? Those are Axminster ones, aren't they?
Yeah, Axminster, Amazon, eBay. Just put drill extension.
And I
That's
think
in.
the common sizes are 8 and 10 mil shaft size.
Hmm.
Just going to get mine out and measure just to double check.
It's just on that one.
Yeah.
That's that one that we did on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you. Because it would have been me hollowing out. That's my bit. And oh god, I looked funny then. Yeah.
Yeah, just double checked on mine, and the extensions need to be an 8 mil for the smaller ones and a 10 mil for the larger ones. And on my set, it switches over at 35 mil Forstner bit.
So what I've done there is just made a little dimple there so the drill will go in center.
Did you check your drill mark as well?
Yep.
Yes, we've done that.
Okay.
Done that.
Okay.
So now I'm going to take over and I'll drill. And we're going to drop the speed down. Just under 1,000. Yeah, I think it's half inch, that one. 16. 16 mil. And on the top, for when we withdraw the drill, we're making sure that we apply pressure with this hand to bring the Jacob's chuck back out so it doesn't come out of the Morse taper.
Yeah. Stephen has agreed with you, Pete. Those Bosch wave bits are the best.
They are good.
They sure look good.
I use the Bosch wave bits when I'm doing pepper mills.
Yeah.
And they just, to be
They cut
honest,
clean,
they
they
just
cut
float
well.
through the wood.
I have not had the pleasure yet.
Now that squeaking that you're getting, what you can do is grab any wax, just rub some wax on the drill bit or the Forstner bit. I use a stick of beeswax.
You pinch from my workshop.
Don't touch the drill very much because it'll be hot. Use a pencil if you want to.
That's
Getting
what
close to
toothbrushes
finding
are
out
for.
Wayne did this right. Right, so that's drilled down to depth now, we think. Where's he gone? He's hiding.
It is.
Or it's
I
gone through the
think.
bottom, one or the other.
Sort of. One depth or another. We'll find out when we take it out. When we part it off. I put this completely back out of the way. Don't need it anymore.
Do you want to measure up for the lid?
Yes, we can do if you like.
Yes, Jennifer, I'll look up a link now.
That one was what I said to Rob. I'm just talking to the guys in the audience about the depth gauge. What I said to Rob was, because you can only do a certain size if you're measuring on the outside. So what I actually said to him was, drill another hole and have an extra rod for the pointer. And then all you need to do, if you've got another rod for the pointer, to get the actual depth, you just bring the pointer up to the centerpiece to get the actual depth, because that way you're actually sitting with this being more central onto the vase rather than being a little bit off the way I was then. Because if you're doing anything wider than that, you're not going to go all the way across. But he has actually, he's not making these for a living. He's just having a bit of fun doing them. But he has made one with extensions on for doing bowls, and I think he has already done one with a side rod in for having the pointer on.
Right, so what I've done while Wayne was explaining all that to everybody, I've measured the lid, and I've actually made the measurement slightly inside the size of the lid, just ever so slightly. I might just drop it in 1 more millimeter, and I'm going to drop to tailstock, come in 1 little millimeter. I'm just going to mark this up. Now we're going to touch with the left hand leg, and we're going to shadow with the right hand leg. Don't let the right hand leg touch.
It will let you know if you do it wrong.
It will. It'll end up over your shoulder. If it's not sticking in your neck, you're lucky.
Yep.
The other thing with the depth gauge is that obviously these don't have to be 3D printed. You can do these out of plywood and dowel.
Mm-hmm.
No problem whatsoever.
That's the first one I made 4 years ago. Still serving me well.
Jigsy is in. Hello, Jigsy.
You gonna do this? Did you want me to?
I'll let you do it. I did it on Monday. This
So
is probably the longest part. This is when you're actually trying to size the lid up.
So all the practicing we did on Monday, we're now doing the bits that the others did. Thanks. What a surprise.
That makes a lot of sense.
So just
What was that? That was
It's
just
an
an
Allen
Allen
key.
key.
Right. So use that one. Using a thick beading tool to do that's a bit too much. Just drop the tool rest a little bit. Or you could use a bowl gouge. Just clean this center bit up. Yes. Somebody from the audience just asked, am we going to, this section in here, are we going to leave a little lip on the inside for the lid to sit on? And yes, we are.
Ralph said he would consult Ben before making any depth gauge.
So now you get to the stop and start showing patience section. Not quite.
You've always got to remember when you're doing this, as you're taking wood off this side, it's also coming off that side as well.
So if you take 2 mil off, you're actually taking 4 mil off.
Yep. Yes, Lewis said ingrain oak is hard. Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm having trouble finding that Bosch wave cutter.
Almost. So what I'm doing, when I'm getting very close to the diameter I want, I'm just going to side scrape with this edge of the parting tool, just to take away fine dust. And that's literally all you want to be taken off. Don't get impatient and think, oh, I've got loads to take off. I'll take off a big chunk. Then you put the lid in and it rattles around.
Jigsy is having to work at the same
That's
time, so
almost
he's
there.
keeping all this on in the background while he works. So, Jigsy, you just continue on, buddy.
We've got 51 in at the moment, Mark.
Cool. Thank you,
Great
everybody,
number.
for coming along.
That's upside down.
There we go.
There we go.
Not really, because we're going to paint it. If you're going to leave it plain, then obviously you want to try and match the grain up as best you can. So you can sort of have a look and go, right, well, medullary rays are there, they're there. So you want to just rotate it so grain matches. But we're going to paint this, so you're not going to see it. Not that much anyway. So I'm just going to right. Part of that's probably because this is blunt, because we used this on Monday, and I haven't sharpened it since. Now we get to have a play with it. Right. Easy Wood Tools. I'm
Douglas
not
is
sponsored
reminding.
by Easy Wood Tools, and until Monday I'd never used one. Wayne is, and several people in the chat love using these, and I've got to say I was massively impressed with how much wood this takes out. Now what you want is the tool to be level, and you want the cutting edge to be on the center height. So I need to bring the tool rest up And it's easier to have your finger just under the tool rest, bring it up to height, just about there, and then lock the tool rest off. Make sure it's in position. And am I doing the first bit?
Oh, aye. Haha.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen is asking if he gets any birthday cake for watching this. I'd say, Stephen, I don't know that there is any. I think they drank their birthday cake.
We did drink the birthday cake. So I'm starting on the hole that we drilled.
Right, the link I just put in there
Okay.
is the last Bosch wave cutter that I bought.
And I've got to say, that is relatively effortless. I'm not struggling. I'm not bent over, leaning in. All the woodturners in the group who know about hollowing, you're in there and you're doing this, and your back hurts. Oh, this is a dream. It's just literally.
The one thing you have to be careful of with that number one is that you hollow too much on the side. It will eat through the side of a piece of wood real quick.
Yeah, the small round cutters are taking a lot more timber than you realise sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. That small cutter just, it eats the wood.
Now I am overhanging quite a bit. There's a mark on the end, on the side, that tells you how long, how far you should go down. You can exceed that, but just be aware if you exceed that point, you're going to get a little bit of vibration because the tool is overhanging the tool rest quite a lot. What a tungsten carbide, yeah. So what I can do is I can switch to one of these stainless steel tool rests, which will give me a little bit more inside.
Now, the thing is with Easy Wood Tools, they make all their own cutters. They actually make the carbides. They do the complete tool. Whereas some people, they will make the rest of the tool and then they'll buy in the carbide tips.
Lewis asked a question. He said, "What's the depth you can go to with a Pro Hollower?"
With the Pro Hollower, that's the medium one. The one that Mark's using is the medium hollower. The Pro Hollower, I think it's around about
7, isn't it? 7 inches.
8 or something like that. But I was talking to Chris.
That's 4.5 on that one.
I was talking to Chris, one of the owners of Easy Wood Tools, and he basically told me that he's seen quite a lot of turners with the number one Pro Hollower take it all the way up to the handle, and it's a lot bigger than that.
Yeah, Copper has confirmed the 8 inches on the Pro Hollower. But yes, Wayne, you're exactly right. Taking that to the handle.
Not that for me.
taking it to the handle, you're losing a little leverage,
I
but
don't think it'll stick.
the
Just need to
weight
see
of
it.
the weight of the tool itself really helps a lot with that. Yes, Lucy, the Pro Hollower is as big as you. It's a massive tool.
And that's pretty much, if I go, that's pretty much all the way down done now. Now, because it's a small cutter, it does two things. It's got a very small surface
David,
area
Mark,
that's actually cutting the wood.
Mark,
Sorry.
you're off camera there.
Right, so the cutter has a very small surface area that's cutting wood. So it actually cuts a lot of wood because there's no drag with a bigger cutter taking up space. So it removes wood very, very fast. And it removes a lot of wood very fast. But it does, the downside to that, leaves some ridges. Okay, so there are some ridges in there, which you can then use a negative rake scraper just to run up and down, and that'll take out any of the ridges that have been left. That's the Simon Hope negative rake scraper. It's a lovely little tool, gives a beautiful finish. I mean, that's almost a sanded finish in there now. And if you wanted to at this stage, even though this is going to be a hollow form, that's quite an open end. Okay, so drop the speed down a little bit, and you could actually just get in there safely and sand the inside to give a nice sanded finish.
Mark at Turner Again Crafts has joined us. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Mark. Mick Juicer said, "Is that my sandpaper?"
Yes, Mick, it is your sandpaper.
Yeah, what we're doing, Mick, we're using the sandpaper before you buy it.
Yeah, so then you can buy used sandpaper. Right. So, for those in the audience, there's a member in the chat who demonstrates with Wayne and myself when we go to shows, and he uses Klingspor Abrasive. And the last show we went to, he basically pilfered as much sandpaper as he possibly could from my stock. Right, so that's now
Use it once,
cleaned out
throw it in a box.
inside. You could go as fine with the sandpaper as you'd want to. You've all seen the piece that's gone round. You can't actually, you can barely touch the sides when you get your finger in there. And you could, you're not going to look in there. If you look in, you can see blackness. If you really wanted to, you could spray paint inside it black, so nobody could ever tell. No one's ever going to be able to touch it. But for your own peace of mind and your own worth of the craft. Sand as fine as you want to. Okay?
Mhm.
Keep putting it in upside down. Yeah, that still fits.
Rob's
Good.
not actually in the chat, so I'll say it for him. Please sand to 800 grit because Rob's got grandchildren to support.
There you go. I'm surprised Mark's not using
You're
true
going to put
grit
the
in
lid
there.
on now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, keeping it in the chuck, because we don't want to change the chucking position.
Mark S has joined us. Good afternoon.
Hey, babes.
That's okay. That'll get
That'll
held.
get held with the glue. This board has cracked a little bit, but it's fine. It's oak. It'll hold.
So what I'm doing now, I'm using O3 adhesives super glue, or O3A super glue. This is the black thick super glue that I'm using, and I'm just going to run that around where the lid is going to fit. And some of that will actually get into the into that crack as well, probably. There you go.
I've just sprayed the lid with an activator. So that's going to stick as soon as you touch it. God blimey. Put a bit on there. Just get that in there. It's fine.
Right, what I'm going to do, because this will get sanded off, I'm going to put some of the black super glue down that crack as well. And we'll just leave that a few, well, Mark can put some activator on that.
All the activator does is makes the super glue go off quicker. Don't have to use it. You can sit there and make a cup of tea.
Have y'all found that the black takes longer to set up and cure?
Yep.
Okay.
Do you want to have a look
Glad
around?
it's
That's
glad it
the
wasn't just
negative red.
me.
Obviously, I've got that on a long handle. So you can put it on a shorter handle. Okay, is that good?
No, I don't not go in now.
Lewis said he likes to press those ends in with the tailstock, which I do quite frequently for all sorts of things. Tailstock makes a great press.
Back to
Absolutely.
this one.
You can overpress as well. You can go right through that.
Well, yeah, you could.
This lid is not very thick, so it would be.
I would
Yeah,
be
it
inclined
wouldn't.
to put a piece of wood across to
Yeah,
spread the load.
that would be a smart thing to do. I'm not usually that smart though, Pete.
For the people in the audience, that Simon Hope negative rake scraper comes with an arbor that you take the blade off, put it on the arbor, put it in your drill, and then you can sharpen it to the right angle using the arbor.
All I'm doing here is taking a very fine cut just to get rid of the excess glue.
I always find a fine cut after hollowing is useful anyway because it tends to distort slightly when you hollow it. It just
Yeah.
retrues it.
I mean, that's all it is. So,
still just a little bit right at the bottom there. And now I'm going to blend in the body with the lid.
Did you want a spindle gouge?
Yeah, if you've got one.
Using a spindle gouge on a spindle. Who'd have thought it?
I know.
Ward Wilson from the west coast of Arizona has joined us. Hello, Ward.
Hi,
Good
Ward.
afternoon.
I would. Wayne switched to a 1/2 inch spindle gouge now.
You know, I put it in the chat, but I don't know that any of us ever mentioned Kez and or Phil is in with us.
Yeah, I mentioned it at the beginning.
Okay. It's been a while and I've forgotten. But it is good to have you with us.
My son does photography in it, and I've just pointed him at Kez's channel, and he's subscribed to it.
There you go.
We also need to say hello to somebody who I'm pretty sure is lurking in the background, who did set an alarm on his phone to come and watch us today. So hello, Colwyn.
Colwyn,
Colwyn.
hello.
I'm sure he's there.
Oh, Woodwork Intermediate is in. Hello, Andy. Good to see you
Good
today.
afternoon.
You can hear it's getting very thin now.
Mm-hmm.
Wayne, don't let Mark sound that; he'll go right through.
Oh, it's paper thin. Gonna go any second.
Because the lid was on a little bit crooked, we've got one side that's a hell of a lot thinner than the other side. Which is why here, that's very thin, but that's not.
Stephen the Wood Dude has said, as it's his birthday tomorrow, he's off to get ready for a long day. Donations for a quality liver will be much appreciated.
There you go.
Yeah, you don't want mine then, Stephen.
I'm just going to go back to the ball
Or
gouge.
Mark's, or Wayne's.
Happy birthday for tomorrow, Stephen.
Absolutely.
It's my sister's
Happy
birthday on Saturday.
This is a birthday heavy week.
It is.
And I'll get that cleaned up properly once I sand it, which I'm going to do now.
Now you could also drill that if you wanted to, with a drill, and you can make it as big or as small as you want. So if you really want to confuse people, make it very, very small. Do as best job as you can to hide the join, and they'll never understand how you hollowed it out.
Yep. I like to make that just slightly smaller than finger size, so they can't get a finger in there. But
Yeah, you can almost not see how that.
Ward's birthday was last Saturday. Happy birthday, Ward.
So this is Klingspor cloth backed, which means it's nice and easy to tear. You can tear it into strips for using on small items. It's also great for telling you if you're pressing too hard, because the heat comes through the sandpaper and burns your fingers. So if you burn your fingers, you're pressing too hard. Ease off the pressure.
Mick has said, Wayne, lay off the sanding. I want some grit left.
You can't have any more sandpaper, Mick. Unless you buy it this time.
See, when I watched Mick demo the sandpaper at Harrogate, he was taking it about halfway along the piece and then putting it into the box of scrap.
Yeah, yeah. And then that whole box went to
Sand
his
and sealer.
house.
Oh no. So this is going to be Hampshire Sheen's matte sanding sealer.
Now, whenever I'm doing any painting using spray lacquer, spray paint, anything like that, I always put a coat of sand and sealer on first, because I find that putting a coat of sand and sealer on works like a primer. Okay, it sort of prepares the wood for either the lacquer or whatever to go on top.
Mick has corrected you, Pete. It wasn't a box, it was a bag.
Ah, that's right. Yeah.
And all I do is wipe off the excess, and just to make sure it's nice and smooth, I will use, we had one yesterday, sorry, Monday.
What do we do with the yellow one? Is it on there? Yes, there. Under the heat gun.
Ah, right, grand. I use the either yellow or orange web racks pads, and these are the equivalent grit of around about 1200. And that just knocks off any excess of the sand and sealer, and that way we've got a nice smooth surface for putting on the black lacquer.
Which is the one without the lid.
A question from Wayne from Woodbrook Learner. He says, Wayne, what's it like being able to see a workshop floor?
It's a new experience.
Somebody in the chat on YouTube has just asked me, what's it like to see a workshop floor? If any of you have watched any of my videos or my lives, you'll probably understand that question, because it tends to be about knee deep in shavings.
Wayne doesn't really have a floor.
Now, whenever you're using spray cans, anything like this, make sure they've had a good rattle. Yep. Oh, camera.
Oh yeah.
Make sure they've had a good rattle, and the way you should do this is the way you do it with a car. If you spray painting a car, so you start outside of where you want the paint to go, and you finish outside, which is why I usually have my chucks covered in paint.
Yeah, Wayne, can you avoid painting my jewels?
They're not your jewels, they're my jewels.
And if you'd like to drop those into me on your way home, Wayne, I'll give you a couple of bottles of wine for them.
One of the earworms is discussing the fact that he wants to steal the jewels that are on my chuck. He's been trying to steal them for about a year now. I've successfully stopped him at every opportunity. He's resorted to bribing Wayne with wine to get the jewels.
Which may work.
Which, yeah, I'm actually quite concerned.
Mick is,
And the best bit
telling
is
me
now,
that
when I'm in Mark's workshop, he
That's the
always
bit.
carefully watches me when I'm ever close to those jewels. Now he's going to have to watch Wayne as well.
yeah. Mick has told me that on the Sunday that he was on very meager rations of sandpaper. I understand from what I've been told, Mick, that you needed to be on meager rations.
Now, what I tend to do as well, that's high, that's low. Have the lathe turned down really low, and you can either use a hot air gun like I'm going to, or a hairdryer. But you need to have it fit quite a way back. If you get too much heat on the lacquer or spray paint, you'll find it'll bubble. So I've got this on just on the first heat setting, and I can feel it warm on the back of my hand there.
This ebonizing lacquer does have a tendency to dry quite quickly. That's why a lot of us use it, especially for demonstrating. 10 or 15 minutes on its own, and it would be dry to the touch. We just use the hot air just to speed things up for the demonstrations.
One usual caution that Wayne missed out on that particular description: when you start your air blower, don't point it at the piece because it might have dust in the end.
Mhm.
Yes.
True.
Now, when I'm doing coloured platters, if I'm doing the rim of a coloured platter, I've actually made up a jig, which I first saw Mick Hanbury use on one of his videos. I've made up a jig that fits in the tool post. So basically, it sits underneath the actual tool post. The air gun goes in, then you put the tool post in to keep it in place, and you can actually have that around about 2 foot away to dry the rim of a platter when it's turning nice and slow. I think that'll do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Lucy has suggested that Mark doesn't have any shavings on his floor, as he likes to surprise his customers by using them as packaging.
This is true.
I said something to my wife about that a couple weeks ago, and she said, "That's a great idea." I said, "Think if you were a customer and got that in your mail."
Right.
She said, "Oh, okay."
What's going on in the chat at the moment is that still talking about shavings, and Mark sometimes uses shavings as packaging when he's sending things through the post.
Only to people I know, can I stress? Only to people I know, not strangers.
So one of the guys who I don't think is in the chat at the moment, JP Woodwork. Mark sent him a package, and he actually opened it while he was on his bed.
But Jamie, I hadn't just put sawdust in, I'd crammed it in. So when you opened the box, it was like a glitter explosion.
Miss Sue is having
Who
a-
opens a package on their bed? Really?
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to do this bit, aren't I?
Yeah, you're going to do it. I'll
You'll
just do
explain it.
an explanation of the tool. This is the Arbortech Mini Carver. Before I actually won this, and before I won this, I used the Proxon. Have you got your Proxon there?
Okay.
I used the Proxon long neck grinder. They each take a 2-inch cutter. The cutter that I've got on here, hang on, stick on, no,
camera.
right. The cutter that I've got on here is the Manpower cutter, which is 3 carbide cutters on there, which are interchangeable. So you can actually just replace them. What Mark's got on the Proxon is an Arbortech cutter. This is 2, I'm not very sure it's the high speed,
Carbide.
the carbide. Right, so these 2 carbides on there, which aren't interchangeable, but you can actually sharpen them with a diamond card. That's actually quite aggressive. The Manpower ones, they're fairly calm, to tell you the truth.
We did this morning with this one.
The other main difference is that the Proxon is 100 watt. This is 710.
So it's much more powerful.
Much more powerful. But you can be very delicate, as Mark is going to show now. Now, we had a practice doing this on Monday, a whole variety of speeds, and we found with this type of thing that we're doing, the best speed was around about 700 RPM, and Mark's going to do that now.
But there's no pressure on this part at all. I keep telling myself that because you get one shot at it. You can't go back. Yeah. I want
Overhead,
overhead,
overhead.
overhead. You get one shot at this. You can't go back and do it again. Otherwise, you have to sand it all off, respray, start again from scratch. You've got to try and be smooth and consistent. You want the cutting edge to be roughly on center, and you want whatever angle you want when you start. You have to try and keep that angle, otherwise it'll change the pattern.
Yeah,
If you
we'll
want
look
to
at
change the pattern, that's brilliant. But this is a one-hit random pass. Now you can hold like a gouge, so it's perfectly safe because my hand's behind the tool rest. This is the delicate part of it. You can be very gentle. Oh God.
Don't be scared.
And Douglas has asked what those jaws are. They originated on Vicmark, and they were called shark jaws.
Now I've got to say, when Wayne and I did this, when we did this, I'm going to change camera now. When we did this on Monday, we stopped the lathe and we were like this.
And as
Because
I mean, when you look at that, I mean, you guys will get a close up of it when it's done.
so right now.
But you get, and I think as you notice, Mark was trying to be fairly smooth when he went down the piece there, but you still get these different patterns all over the
That's
place.
worth the treat.
That is cool.
You've got the top to do now.
Right. Okay. This is where I find out how kind Wayne's been to me.
Sorry, one pass.
You can't do
Yeah.
a second pass. No. And the lathe is running exactly at 750 RPM. 749 for some reason. Right. That needs to come down a little bit. You have to have the tool rest far enough back to give you room to run. It still needs to come down, doesn't it? Let's see what that does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
worked. I was a bit heavy to start, and as I realised it was, as it was just touching that heavy part, I just eased off the pressure a little, and it gave that finer detail around the outside. I really like that. That
Mhm.
gives a really, really nice effect.
And just for the nature of it, it's going to be different with every piece you do.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the guys has said because of the nature of it, depending on what speed you're doing, depending on what angle you put in with the carver, everyone's going to be different. You're going to get a different pattern on everyone.
So you can see.
Yeah.
Even the curvature of the piece itself is going to make a
Yeah.
difference.
And I think the shape of the piece that you do. So like Wayne has done quite a straight and then a slight tapered flare at the bottom. If you were to do an egg shape or like a standard vase shape, the curve would affect the pattern that you would get by using that tool. Right, so now what we need to do is we're going to do the colouring. So the first colour we want to do, we're going to go light to dark. So we're going to do a light base and then we're going to do a darker top. All right. So
Hey,
using
quick
the airbrush.
quick
Now what?
question.
Hold on,
Yeah.
sorry, yep.
Would it make a difference if you went bottom to top instead of top to bottom?
Probably.
Not too sure. It probably would do. But one of the guys has just asked, would the pattern be any different if you went from the bottom up towards the top, rather from the top down to the bottom? So what Mark's using now is the Hampshire Sheen intrinsic colours. He's going to use the honey first. Now the thing is, with the intrinsic colours, they are water based, so they need to go directly onto the wood. But since how Mark's used the mini carver to put the texture in, he's gone through the ebonizing lacquer and he's gone through the sand and sealer straight into the wood. So it's okay to use them with this type of project. The only thing that will happen is that the intrinsic colours will actually sit on top of the ebonizing lacquer. So you've actually got to give it a wipe afterwards to get rid of it.
Mick Dews had said yellow, and Mick, you're in luck.
Yep.
See, now this is one of the most successful times that Mark has used black and yellow successfully.
Cursed with black and yellow. You won't see
Only
anything
'cause
black
we've
and
got you
yellow over there.
educated, Wayne.
I never get it right.
Of course,
So now I'm
Mark is
going to
doing it
change
under
to
Wayne's
ruby.
supervision.
Hang on, you haven't put the honey on the top.
Oh yeah.
Malcolm
Alright.
Douglas
Oh,
is
don't worry,
asking.
don't
Well, I
worry,
could
do
do,
it
yeah.
after.
I'll do it.
Malcolm Douglas is asking, would this be similar with the Proxon?
Yes, yeah, it would. Because the first one, somebody's asking if it would be similar using the Proxon. It would be very similar because that manpower blade will actually fit on the Proxon. And before I got the Arbitec mini carver, when I was doing these or just putting a pattern on a vase, I did use the Proxon long neck grinder.
Andy, Wayne is repeating what we're saying because there's a live audience there. They've got a number of people.
So I've changed
sitting right in
over
front of them.
to same Hampshire Sheen now, and this is the ruby. So this is going to be the dark colour.
Talking of Ruby, Ruby has just put in the chat, I'm watching, Mark. I think that's a threat.
Yes.
So,
Grand. Excuse me getting in the way. I'm just going to give this a wipe over.
Douglas has put in the chat, is it a practice piece? Of course it is.
yes,
Through the back.
in the back door there.
I find that every piece of texturing is always a practice piece because you never quite
When we
know
did this
how
on
to
Monday,
do it.
we said, when we do the colouring, Mark, make sure you wear gloves. Because you don't want to get stain on your hands. What did I have sat by the airbrush?
If you'll go wash your hands right now, it'll probably come off.
That's it. That's it. It's that stain is on the wood is actually dry now.
It's
That's gone.
minutes.
I've wiped it all
Got a
off.
couple of minutes.
Yeah.
You've got a bit of working time.
So
The
what we're
advantage
going to
of doing
finish this
is
with?
It'll wipe off the black quite easily because it won't soak into it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using the
That one.
that one. I'm using the Hampshire Sheen clear satin lacquer. And again, this is the type of lacquer that does dry fairly quick. So I should be able to get a couple of coats on this for the demo. And when you're using a lacquer, the best thing to do is lots of thin coats. Don't try and do heavy coats. Otherwise, it'll start to run, or it might even what we call bloom, where it goes cloudy. So lots of thin coats with the lacquer. So that's that one.
Turn speed down. Speed down. That's it.
Oh, full speed, full speed. Faster is
Oh,
faster.
I'll spin it all over the place. Garston.
Ruby said, I love that. You two should collaborate more often.
Uh-huh.
Haley's agreed and said, it's great, isn't it? Now I need another tool.
Yes. Yes. More tools, more tools.
Again, with the temperature being quite cold in here today, for those at you at home at YouTube, don't understand how much Wayne and I are actually suffering, because that's actually really nice. And the poor audience is wrapped up, shivering away behind us. But because of the temperature, even using a heat gun with a lacquer is a good idea. Just helps it dry just a little bit quicker.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do it, just saves time. Thank you very
Douglas
much,
Mungo
Douglas.
to give you a super chat.
That's very nice. It's the first super chat I've had in about 3 years.
Nice one, Douglas.
Thank you, Douglas. That's very kind of you, mate.
Of course, with that super chat, he says, practice piece.
Practice piece, yeah. That's what this was. This was the practice piece. That's the practice piece.
There you go.
Well, I'll tell you what. Unless you
Douglas,
want to,
yeah, no, I don't. Douglas, yeah.
Yeah.
Douglas, message me your address, please, mate. I'll send that to you.
Michael McEwen. Hello, Michael. From the far west coast of Canada.
Canada. Hello, Michael. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming along.
6:10 a.m. there. Just 3 hours difference is all from me.
So even with doing all the talking, stopping, answering questions, two of us faffing around, this has taken basically an hour and a quarter. Hour and 12 minutes we've been going. First 5 or 6 minutes I was waffling on. So you could do one of these, this size, in about, finished properly, let's say hour and a half. Because, you know, we skipped some of the sanding. We didn't sand inside as much as you might want to. But the technical parts of it, they don't take long. Don't take long at all.
I think that's one of the joys of turning for me is that you can get a piece basically done in an hour, hour and a half.
where's your air gun?
What's one?
Air gun.
Egg on there.
What I didn't do was get rid of the dust just from when I was doing the
That's
top.
true.
There we go. And now you want to part off or what?
Yeah, I'll do it if you like. Since we switched roles of everything we've done, apart from the texturing, which was my bit from the other day.
Lucy's asking how
No,
many
that's
who do you
it.
have in the live
Satin
audience?
lacquer. Yeah, it's a satin lacquer, so it won't give a very big shine.
This is where we find out if the super duper depth gauge was correct. Parting off, you don't need to have it going at super speeds. That's 1200. And only because it'll annoy me if I don't turn it off. I'll turn off the compressor behind me.
Douglas has put in the chat just a bit of care with the texturing. The thing is, Douglas, if you don't hollow it first, you can texture it, cut off 2 mil, and do it again. And keep going like that until you've got a pattern you like and learn the process.
And you don't have to part all the way through. You see a lot of people on YouTube parting all the way through. There is no need. Get a good Japanese pole saw, part down to about 1/4 of an inch. Take that off, and you're left with a tiny little nub, which we will then on the wall. Just grab another SK114. I'm almost as lazy as he is, and I can't stand changing jaws. So I just think, buy another chuck and put jaws on that chuck. And then that's why I've got six SK114s, an SK100 right beside your head, and another one there on that. All with different jaws on.
Now's
It's
the perfect
extravagant, isn't it?
opportunity, Wayne. If you just slip that one with my jaws on it in your bag, drop it off on your way home.
Lucy, we've got about, I think we've got about 10 people sitting in the audience having a look.
Okay.
There they all are. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Audience.
Like they could see us.
And there you have. Take as much time as you want with that. Clean the bottom off. That's all nice and clean. And because it's slightly dished, it will always sit flat, won't wobble. There we go.
Stick it on the overhead.
Douglas Mangum was happy he got out of the hospital so he could watch this.
There you go,
Douglas,
guys.
I was not
I'm
aware
just
you'd
going to
been
pass
ill.
this around the audience so they can have a closer look.
So that's basically, this was Wayne's inspiration. He came up with this. And I think it's a fantastic little idea. You could do this on vases, vessels, bowls, the outside of a bowl, the rim of a bowl. So you do a wide rim, just pass that Arbortech from the center back to the edge, paint it. I think it's a really good idea.
Brilliant.
Comes up really, really nice. That's it.
Douglas says, "Can you both
Thank you.
sign it?"
Thank you.
I'll bring the earworms back in. Hold on. Where's my mouse?
Douglas asked if both of you could sign the piece.
Yeah, we will. We'll
I think you ought to, yeah.
We'll power the signatures on the bottom. Right. So there's Wayne still in his little disc.
The reason the little disc is there is because I've got my camera switched off on my laptop.
Yeah.
Because it's not being used.
But thank you. Firstly, I just want to say thank you guys for sitting there and being cold. Do appreciate it very much. If we do this again, it'll be the summer. It'll probably still be cold. But thank you to the audience for coming. Thank you to everybody in YouTube land for coming along and watching Wayne and I have a bit of fun. Thank you, Wayne, for coming along.
No problem, mate.
It's been an
Anytime.
absolute pleasure having you here.
Good number of compliments.
Every week, if you drive down from Scotland overnight for 12 hours and then straight away drive back again on a Wednesday, you could just about get home. No, you couldn't just about get home.
No.
To do his own live. Wayne's probably going to be on Saturday night. You did say you're going to try get on Saturday.
I'm going to try and do Saturday night, yeah, because obviously I'm not doing tonight. Because, well, I'm not in my workshop. Plus, Kim, Mark, and I are going out for a meal tonight. So I'm sorry, Ruby. I'm probably going to miss your live tonight as well.
Yeah, sorry, Ruby. And that's it from us. Thank you, everybody, for coming along. share this out, like and subscribe, do all the usual YouTube stuff, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Cheers, everyone.